Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
I may have clicked on
Hello.
something a little early.
Did you say hello too early?
No, I showed one of the Kickstarters because I had the wrong scene set up.
No.
Good
Now they're
morning,
gonna
everyone. How are
know.
you? And if I sound sick, it's because I'm definitely totally 100% sick. It's not even a question. How's everyone doing today?
I'm doing good. Are you talking to us or talking to them?
I'm talking to them. I'm talking to them. You guys, we
Okay.
already had pleasantries.
I mean, I don't know if I would call it pleasant, but we did talk.
They're called pleasantries by default, regardless of the status
Meg
of
was
them.
gone the whole time, so it didn't feel very pleasant. It just
That's
felt
true. I made coffee. Everyone say sorry, Alex, that you're sick.
That is why I'm
Ending
wearing
the
a
year with a
poncho.
cold.
That's not true, by the way. I'll wear a poncho no matter what, but that's my excuse for wearing a poncho. So, this is the weekly live. We do have a bit of a shakeup today for those of you who are wondering. Srebme, Alex, you sound worse than last night. Tea not working? Well, I'm having tea, but I guess tea's not working, so there's that.
I think it's just it's not strong enough to fight off whatever this is.
Yep, I'll be fine. I'll definitely be fine, and we'll figure it out because I do this every time. The real problem is that I tend to film a bunch of videos while this is happening, and then they go up at various points in time, and then for the next like 3 months, I'll get people commenting on how I'm sick because you know, I was sick at one point for 3 days, and I filmed 7 videos.
I'm
that's
honestly
fair.
pretty happy that I'm not visiting you right now, Alex.
That
I
is
would
a good choice.
immediately.
That is a good choice, Meg.
Yeah,
This is the
I was
weekly.
sick.
This is the weekly live. We'll be diving into this as usual. We have our segments picked out. We have our change to the format. The BGG hotness wasn't working out quite as much as we'd like, and so instead we're trying a game show. Whether or not it happens every single week is a different conversation. I feel we can rotate who does the game show every 3 weeks and just rotate around, but we'll have to figure it out.
So
Charades
I
weekly.
think that the hotness wasn't a bad idea. It's just weekly, it's not a good idea. So maybe if we did 3 game shows and then end with the hotness for like a full month, that's not a bad idea.
I'm open to the conversation. Certainly open to the conversation. But with that, we're gonna go ahead and dive into the weekly live, and
That
we're gonna.
feels like a boss talking to his employees. I'm
No,
open
no,
to the conversation.
no. It feels like a conversation.
Send it up the pipeline, and then it'll come back down, raining on your heads.
Listen, I'll have my
I have this
people.
form for you to fill out to apply for this idea.
I'll have my people talk to your people, and we'll get it all sorted out.
Have you ever watched, Alex? Have you ever read the Far Side gallery, like the comics, the Far Side by Gary
I've definitely
Larson?
read The Far Side.
Okay, one of my favorite comics ever was what you just said was I let my people talk to your people, and it's like little people on the ground, and
Yeah.
they're like tiny little people.
Yeah, I remember that one. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and dive into this. So, starting off the bat with our usual "What's on our table" segment, who wants to go first here?
Alex,
can
I'm
do it.
so distracted by the poncho.
The
I
poncho is
know.
distracting.
I can't get over his poncho.
I'm
I'll do it.
so
I'll do it.
distracted.
I'll be right back.
Go ahead,
And
Devin.
while Devin's gone.
Devin is bringing to the table.
My game of the week is Oathsworn because my stuff from Jules Watson of Board Game
Ooh.
Barbecue has come back, and the minis that he painted for me are here.
I saw your real Devin.
I did.
It is. Oh, I have like never been so excited about getting something in the mail for a game. Like here's the Ursa Warbear.
Oh, can we see the witch?
Yes,
I
you
played
can.
her.
Stacy,
So-
unfortunately, I don't have a full screen option to make a single person full screen. So there's that. I can go to
Ooh.
slightly larger.
But and then like I really like the Exile because he's shirtless. You get a lot of like actual skin tone and like muscle tone and stuff.
Oh my gosh, look at those thighs.
Now,
I know,
Devin,
right? Those thighs.
I don't know if you've been browsing Facebook, but I've been browsing Facebook and I saw somebody who had a whole terrain set for Oathsworn.
Yeah, Apple knees, I'm on it.
That's
I can do
dope.
that.
That's dope.
Yeah, that was it.
Um,
Was very
Devin.
cool looking.
I
Devin,
also
can you
like.
show-
Can
Can you show the person that has like the armor on that's all the yellow dots?
Oh, the allies. Yeah, I can do
Yeah. That one's really good.
that. Like.
Yeah. Like look at that.
Those aren't even like the
That's
heroes. Those are like
insane.
extras.
Those are just the allies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a level of detail I will never achieve with painting. Not
Yeah,
never,
no.
but
Yeah.
not for a long time.
Jules Watson, and I can also, if you know me on Facebook, you can go to a Facebook post that I had where I literally, like, Jules took actual professional photography of all of it, and you can check all that out.
I
But
did see that.
I'm so excited.
Do you want
Yeah,
to
they're
talk about
beautiful.
anything about the game itself, or just the painted miniatures?
Oh, well, now that they're here, because I shipped off mine like 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago or something, and I've been like wanting to play it, and now I can go back and start playing it and have those minis. I'm
That's
excited.
interesting. I believe Meg and I are playing through Oath1 over on Camp Co-op. We'll just take your copy if that's okay with you. It would be much better for the camera.
I thought we agreed that you guys wouldn't play that without me.
Yeah, don't worry, Alex. I will paint them, and they're gonna look exactly the same.
It's gonna look so similar, so similar. Yeah. So, give some love to Jules Watson if you're connected with Board Game Barbecue at all or listen to that or anything. He did an amazing job, and I'm super stoked about it.
That's awesome.
Devin, did you get other? Don't tell me because I only know the very first, the Brood Mother.
That's
but
that's
are there
the
other-
only that's the
Okay.
only boss I got done. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He would have been painting for the next 3 months if I had him do all of the big encounters. So
Wait,
The
wait.
thing I want to paint the most, which Alex told me I could paint, but I still haven't grabbed it from him, is I really want to do the cottage.
yeah, I've seen a lot of good ones for that.
You
So.
do have my dragon
I do.
and my
He needs to
Marvel
get
United.
I do.
He's still broken. No, well, Alex has to fix his wing, and he never fixed the wing.
I'll bring paint. Well, actually, I brought glue last time. It was all hard. I think I'll have to bring new glue.
Yeah.
Now
The
I
glue
just
you
have this
brought-
image of Alex as like an injured bird with a broken wing that we're like nursing back to health.
It's very sad.
Oh, also, random note: my son got these things called Pix bricks for Christmas, and he made this of me. So
It's adorable.
this is me with a hat.
I love the
And
hat.
I broke my own legs, but
So
there we go.
sweet.
So he made a little me. So, but random note, had nothing to do with Oathsworn.
Yep. In any case, anything else in
That's
Oathsworn?
really nice.
I'm excited to play it. I love the game, and now I have really pretty stuff.
Sounds good.
Remind the kids at home, who do you play as?
Well, I mean, in the live stream that I did, I played as.
Or who will you play as then?
Yeah, I don't know. I really want to try and check out some of the other people, like the Huntress, the Penitent, the Harbinger. I played as the Warbear, the Witch, the Warden, and the Priest. And to me, it also depends on whether I'm playing them as companions or not, because they have different styles with the archetype cards they use. But I really want to keep trying some other people as well. But I do like the Priest a lot because he's a nice buff
Nice.
I like the
healer,
witch.
attacker.
I like the Archer a lot. I've been really enjoying the Archer. Yeah, the Archer has some like solid range cards that they can use and like ways to like jump around the entire board, which is very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like tree striding or something
Yes.
like that.
Yes. Exactly.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they can jump from various obstacles within a certain range, and like they just pop around the board, loosing off shots. It's very cool.
Nice.
But with that, I'll go ahead and go into mine, which mine is actually a very not positive segment this particular week. I'm going to be going into the Nano games, Railway, City Planner, and Empire. This is a series of games I backed on Kickstarter that I got recently, and I played all 3 of them this past week, and I liked none of them. I enjoyed none of them, unfortunately.
Oh no.
It's a series of 3 games. I believe it's actually meant to be a series of 9.
Wait, Alex, are you sick?
I'm sick. Yes. But I believe that I believe it's a series of 9 games with the intent, and they're all supposed to be around the idea that they have 9 cards, 9 dice, and 9 cubes, which is a similar kind of restriction to the idea of the Buttonshy series of games, where they have 18 cards. Every Buttonshy game has 18 cards, and there's expansions, and this is a similar kind of idea. The difference is, having played all of these, one of them I felt was a good game that's not for me, like is way too crunchy in terms of like it just felt tight the entire time, but like I can recognize it as being a good game. The other 2 very strongly felt like they were intentionally using the restriction in a way that simply didn't feel natural. I mean, like to give you one example, at one point they have somebody using 2 dice to give you 8 rounds of counting down. So you use a 6 and a 2 instead of using an 8-sided die to count the rounds. And so like there's a lot of examples like that where the decisions around the game design feel like they are specifically restricted. At one point you have a deck of 4 cards that you always have 3, and you shuffle the three, that when you use the 3, you discard them, then you draw the next one and reshuffle the other 3 and draw 2 more. So like those are just constant examples of like where it just feels the entire game feels very restricted in the way these are designed, that it feels like they are all very accomplished design achievements in terms of what they did, but unlike a button shy game, they didn't feel natural to the design restrictions. And so for
Feels
me,
like they came up with the restriction first and then like pushed the design into it afterwards.
very much so. And like for me, that was definitely like a miss on all of these. And again, one of them actually feels very elegant. One of them feels very elegant, but just way too tight. Like I did not enjoy the mental thinkiness of trying to make everything work. It just felt restrictive. The other two just felt like there were multiple things I could point to that made it feel arbitrarily restricted around the components as opposed to a natural fit for the components. And it just made me like really not particularly appreciate them, unfortunately.
That's
Yeah.
sad.
Bit of letdown. It's not even the first series of micro games that let me down this past 2 weeks. There was another series entirely like 2 weeks earlier that I also backed that 4 of them showed up and they were all let down as well. But in those cases, they were all just like giant luck fests of small little micro games. But yeah, a bunch of it's like 7
Luckfest.
Oh, they were like straight up luck fests.
What a term.
Yeah. No, there a bunch of games that have been letting me down, unfortunately, recently. It is what it is. You know, it's like not every game can be a win. And in the case of these 3 were certainly a loss for me.
Ooh.
Gotcha.
Meg, what's your pick?
My pick of the week is My City. So My City is a 24 episode campaign game where you're playing against other players, building up your city with polyominoes. And whether you win or lose, different things happen, that you put different stickers on your board, that if you win, you get things that are more detrimental like rocks, and if you lose, you get to get extra boons. But it's a 24 episode campaign, and we played it in 3 days?
2 days.
2 days.
2 days.
Wow.
I kind of had like an addiction problem where I was like, again. So over Christmas, Alex and I got to play. And I had a delightful time. At first, I was like, I'm not understanding. And so something that's difficult is that we were playing it on Board Game Arena. And for something like a polyomino game, this is something like Cartographers, I memorize all of the shapes. And with this, I was having such a hard time memorizing the shapes because it was online. I feel like not having it in front of me, I was having a very difficult time. But after a bit, I got the hang of it. And on BGA, you can have the reserve open the whole time. That I just kept scrolling up and down and looking at the reserve. But oh my goodness, I had so much fun.
Yeah, and these BGA I actually think is a great implementation of this game. Like these pop out in around 20 minutes per game. They're very quick. I've played this in person as well, and I can definitely say like I've done what you kind of had there, which when I'm playing in person, I've actually like pulled pieces and been like, I'm reserving this, I'm setting this aside because I know I need that, you know, that blue 4 or whatever it is. And so there's definitely a different aspect to playing it in person versus playing it online. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really recommend the BGA implementation. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I had
Nice.
a blast.
I'll have to check
And
it out.
So after this, am
After
I
this?
allowed to say what's coming out, Alex?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it's a secret because we talked about it, but
I don't know now what you're saying, but sure.
Well, now I don't know what you're talking about.
the next version of this.
No, it's not a secret. Not a secret.
Okay, so they're coming out with My Island.
Well, it's
after
not
this.
anymore if it was.
Board Game Co. announces live. So there's My Island, which I'm so much more excited about now, especially after enjoying this one, because I think that's going to be more my vibe. Like this one, you were doing different industrial things where you had like a railroad and I was like, whatever, and like a sawmill. So I had a lot of fun with the polyominoes, but not really the flavor of it. That for My Island, if it's like collecting fruits and animals and on the beach, I don't know.
love,
very
I love the entire tone change that you just had. Like railroads and like buildings, but fruits and
and flowers.
Is that what
And
My Island is, by the way?
waterfalls. What?
Is that what My Island is? I don't actually know
I
anything about
have
it.
no idea. I have no idea.
It's just pure optimistic speculation.
I think the
If we
only
are-
thing...
If we are industrializing an island and like paving it and stuff, I will be so heartbroken.
It's to be like colonialism, industrialism, like, you know, cutting down all the trees, creating factories, polluting the waters. It's gonna be a dystopian My Island,
That's a
and Meg
bit
is gonna be
much.
distraught.
Yeah, the only thing I know about it is I believe in My Island, I believe that
It's
tiles
insane.
are hexes as opposed to squares, I believe. Yeah.
Oh,
And Stacey's asking if the game is replayable after the campaign. So there's two answers I'll give. The first answer I'll give is that it is theoretically replayable, but like most Legacy games, I have no real interest in replaying it. The second answer I'll give is it's a 4-player game, which means if you buy this, and it's like $25-$35, I think it's actually part of the Barnes & Noble sale recently, so like people are getting for like $17. But if you get the game, it plays 4, which means if you only play it with 2, you actually can play it 2 full times by using the 2-player set. So it gives you like 48 games if you're doing it as a 2-player game.
Interesting. But you wouldn't go back on BGA. Like if the 3 of us played, you wouldn't go back and do it again.
Oh, I would play it again, but I would start it
I
from the
absolutely
beginning.
would.
Okay.
I'm saying you can continue the game in a legacy mode with your specific customizations or whatever, like your rocks, your trees. So you could play it in a legacy mode, but like I just don't have an interest in that kind of experience.
That sounds like my island. Your rocks, your trees.
Yeah.
Just want to say for the record, for all the kids at home, I beat Alex.
I'm just saying for like ASMR value, you should do that way more often.
Really?
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, I won. I came in first place.
It was a really close game that literally came down to 1 point.
Yeah, no, we 100% need to get Meg one of those like mic arms to where she can just like pull it close and just be like, yeah, and that's what happened. I beat him so bad.
Yep. Oh, Juan.
Completely
Wow.
pranked him.
Do you see Juan's comment? You should never punch down, Meg.
Alex is pretty short.
That's true. But that is basically what we have as far as our particular segments there, which means, Devin, it's time for crowdfunding corner. If you want to go ahead and start with your pick of the week.
Ooh, my pick of the week is a pick of the week that is actually, you know, it's pretty standard for Devin. It's relatively uninformed and off the cuff. So that's actually just pretty, like, DNA-wise in line with me. This is React, The Arts of War. And I picked this because it reminds me of, you know, a lot of, like, anime or JRPG artwork. I really, really love the acrylic standee art. I think it stands out a lot. I love 1v1 games. I like dueling games. I don't know anything about this world, and I think the campaign like just finished today, so it's technically over.
There'll be
But
a late
it's
pledge.
one that the pledge manager will open up. It's one that I've had a little bit of an eye on. You know, obviously I've been trying to abstain from jumping in on stuff, but I really like 2-player systems. I do like how vibrant the art is. It kind of reminds me of, you know, Bayonetta and other stuff that is in that same kind of like aesthetic or, you know, artistic vein. And yeah, I don't know much about it, but it's just kind of one of those elements where I think the artwork really does grab and looks interesting. And it's always the type of game, you know, similar to Bullet, where I don't think I end up, I didn't mean to say bite the bullet, but I don't end up like going in on it, and then I kind of hear good things about games like this later. And so, you know, I still haven't played Bullet, and I know that a lot of people think a lot of it. And this was kind of me wondering if this was going to be the same thing. Like I said, I love the art design. I love how kind of like clean the game board is, which to me makes the acrylic artwork and the visual style of the cards and stuff like that pop more when it's kind of up against a more beige or ordinary background.
And I remember seeing this at PAX Unplugged. It was actually like you had the Rove booth right around the corner, and like right next to that there was the booth for this game. Didn't know anything about it at the time, and then I saw it in Kickstarter. I was like, oh, that was a upcoming Kickstarter.
Yeah. No, it's and is Level 99 Games not the people who did Bullet?
Level 99 Games did do Bullet. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So my brain's working well.
This is not by Level 99 Games. This is by Brother Mean Games. I believe they had a crossover, or like some sort of pack with Level 99.
Yeah. I just saw it on the Kickstarter page. That's why I was curious.
Yep.
I brought that up before I saw that. That's how cool I was in knowing about connections between stuff. I brought that up before.
Totally
And
brought
so-
it up.
Totally brought it up before.
And so we'll be diving now into our new segment, which is a game show segment. Now, this is something that might be rotating around every single week as far as how we do it each week. But the idea of this particular week, and this, just to be clear, if any of you get above 50%, I think you're doing great. I think this is hard. By default, I just think this is hard. I do think Meg might have a bit of an edge because Meg has a better memory. But what I did
Excuse me.
No. Meg has a better memory. That's not a question. It's not a debate.
It depends what type of memory we're talking about. If we're talking about just like pure academic skill from like regular school, Devin was a smart boy.
Regular school.
Regular school.
Regular
No,
school
I'm with
doesn't really drive home your point. I remember the bestest. It's always in my head, just ready for me to grab at any point.
I remember the bestest. Devin's killing it today.
So, now everyone at home can play along because I'm only going to reveal things after. But what I basically did is I went through your top 100. And fun fact, this is actually going to have some small spoilers to the top 100, the videos that didn't go up yet. Because, and shout out, by the way, the next video in the top 100 is going to be going up later today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But what I did is I chose one game from the top 100 in each category, 100 through 91, 90 through 81, etc. for each of you. So there's one game in each 10 for each of you going the whole way through. I specifically chose things that for the most part I believe have been around for long enough. And what I'm doing is we're going to talk about the cover of the game, and you're going to be asked a question about the cover
Excited.
of your game.
It's not just you didn't if you did color for every single one of them, I'm screwed. I'm absolutely screwed.
The
if
first
you did
one-
color, I'm so done.
The first one is color, but I specifically tried to avoid. I believe I did color twice in these 20 questions. There's only so many things you can actually do with like the box covers, but I did color twice.
So I'm a 10% failure. I'm at a 90% cap already.
Well, actually, both of the color questions are from Meg, so you're fine.
Oh, thank goodness.
And starting off the bat, Meg, with 5 tribes, a game in your top 100 to 91, thinking of the box of 5 tribes, what color are the main letters 5 tribes?
They're white with a blue background?
They are indeed white with a blue background. Dun dun
I
dun
actually-
dun dun.
I thought white as well. Yeah.
Well, fun fact, if
I
one of you
wasn't sure,
doesn't...
like, with the fuzz, what you
Can we steal? Can
Yes,
we steal?
when one of you doesn't get it, you can absolutely steal. But I'm asking you questions about
Did we
your...
ever film that other trivia thing?
And what- For the
Me
next...
and Meg?
No, we still have it. It hasn't gone up yet, the other trivia.
Okay.
But what I will do for the next 19 questions, because I think it's only fair, is for the next 19, when I ask the question, give it like 5 seconds so people playing at home can think through the answer themselves. Just give it 5 seconds, just so they can go ahead.
Okay.
And Devin, moving on to a question from your top 191. And this is actually, I think you're so screwed on this one. I think you really are. I apologize. It's a hard one.
Alex, 5 Tribes wasn't in my top 100.
I may have chosen my game. Are you sure about this?
Yeah, it was my number like 103. We said it multiple times.
I pulled this. First of all, kudos to you then for grabbing game 9 in your top 100. Second of all did Devin have it in his top 100?
Nope.
I don't know, but
We
I'm
talked
positive
about it.
it's
I
not.
remember we talked about it.
We'll go back to this later
Um,
because I pulled this back from the timestamps of my videos, so I don't understand how it wouldn't be there. But
That's cool. That's amazing.
we'll go ahead.
I'm making a note of this to check this later.
We'll check it later. But in the meantime, Devin, your game is Shobu. Shobu, this is a hard one. This is harder than color. I'm sorry. This is a way too hard question. The game Shobu, if you think through
I
the
can't
bottom...
look back there.
You can't. If
think
you
it's-
think through
yeah,
the
it's
bottom of the box has text on it. So the text is only two. There's the text. There's Shobu. There's the designer name, and at the bottom there's a tagline. What's the tagline?
You're not okay. You're not talking about the label and print, Smirk and Dagger, Smirk
Nope.
and Laughter.
Nope. It's a tagline.
The tagline is oh.
If you know this, I'll be so impressed.
No, it's I actually do know this. It's oh goodness. It's the most fun you've ever had with rocks in the house.
Yes.
Right?
Meg, would you like to steal? There's no way you know.
Well, does that mean he's definitely
Oh,
wrong?
He's definitely wrong.
yeah, of course I'm wrong. I have no clue what that is.
How about
This might be the hardest question. I may have this
I want to
list
say a game of
My
something.
first question.
a game of something. It is beautifully challenging, which I'm realizing isn't properly showing up on screen right now, but it's there. You can see it a little bit.
That's really hard. Alex.
I'm just like the difference between those two questions is rather absurd.
It's okay. The next question for Meg is how do you spell the word red? Yeah. Heath Cap said beautifully challenging. I wonder if you remember it. But the next one is a hard one for Meg. The next one
Rocks.
The next one is a hard one for Meg, so we're good here. It's a harder one, I believe, but we'll see. This is about the Red Dragon Inn from your 90 to 81.
Yes.
And on the Red Dragon Inn, there is a crime being committed on the cover. What is that crime?
Is it Gurky stealing something?
She is dead on.
Is it? But so I was going to say pickpocket. Is it pickpocketing?
It is pickpocketing.
Oh, I was going to say pickpocketing. Why did she have to know that? That was just a guess. Son of a gun.
I didn't pause. I should have paused.
should have paused.
I think the thing that was crazy was she even said the person's name.
I don't know the person's name at all. I'm just like, yes, Gurky, 100%. That's what I was thinking too.
I think his name is Gurky the Sly or something like that. And that's Deidre. I can't remember the redhead's name. And that's the bartender lady. And also, that's Pookie and Zot. Zot the wizard?
I don't know, Meg.
This is now just I'm going to lose based off of literally that explanation.
Yeah.
Oh darn! I missed one of the 8 characters that I just pulled out of the ether. Gurky is stealing some coins. Classic
Kevin, remember when you
Gurky.
were cocky and you were like, I can remember things too.
This is
Okay, do we want to go back to the first time you and I had a trivia thing? It didn't go well for you.
Well, Devin, moving on to you. This one's a little bit of an easier one, I believe. A little bit, but we'll see.
Great, thanks for serving me up for failure.
Oh, there's some hard ones that there's like 1 or 2 that are harder for Meg that I was like, if this is Devin, I would undo it. But like Meg has this memory thing when it comes to like some things that is a little insane. But moving on to the next one. The next one, Devin, is Azul from your 90 through 81.
Oh, great.
Okay. Now Azul, if you remember the cover of Azul, it's basically a bunch of Azul tiles.
Yes.
What is the number of tiles on the cover? The length by width. It's a pure pattern. It's just an X by X grid.
Like, I do feel like this. I don't know.
Oh
No, this is actually. I thought this was too easy.
Can I steal?
If 6 by 6.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, can I now? Well,
You can go ahead and steal.
Is it 5 by 5?
It is indeed a 5 by 5
I
grid.
was gonna say 5 by 5. I should have gone with my instinct.
Isn't the actual Azul game a 5 by 5 grid though?
Yes.
That's why I thought this was too easy. I was like, you should think about playing the game.
The idea.
I was like, even if you forget what the game is like, you'll be like, what's Azul? It's a 5 by 5 grid, so it's probably a 5 by 5 grid.
That the amount of times in which like the artwork of a game is used as a tessellation that isn't like proportionally matched to the actual game
I
components.
don't disagree, but if you don't know the answer, go with a 5 by 5 like Meg did.
I knew it was 5 by 5.
You knew that? You just inherently knew that. As separate from the game, you knew that the cover was a 5 by 5.
In my heart, that's what I would have answered and not trying to guess. I thought it was 5 by 5.
This is insane.
Devin, it's gonna be a
This
fun
is
day for us.
insane.
It's gonna be a fun day.
I did, dude. George just said, "Meg, what is 2 plus 2?" Devin explained to me quantum string theory.
Okay, the crime being committed on Red Dragon Inn was a boss question. Okay.
Guys, I named the character.
Now, Meg, you have to give everyone a minute here to answer this one because before people think it's an easy question, I want to see who gets this.
Okay.
The next one, from your 80 through 71, is a game called Ticket to Ride.
Yes.
There's a boy on the cover of Ticket to Ride. What color are his clothes? Give it 5 seconds.
I think I actually know this.
Well, if Meg gets it wrong, you have a chance to steal.
I don't know if I'm gonna know this.
Um,
Tell me when it's long enough.
You can go ahead and guess.
I'm gonna say red.
Devin, you have a chance to steal.
I actually think that he's in that like old school kind of outfit with like the pants that balloon down and like cinch high up at the like calf. I think he's in a blue outfit,
Well, that's a very specific
or
wrong answer.
maybe green.
It is green, but you guessed
Ah!
blue.
I keep waffling between two things, and I need to do the one I'm not saying out loud.
Now, I don't know if you guys are watching along with stream, but I'm showing these on stream after every question.
Oh.
In case you wanna
no,
see
he
that.
is wearing the exact kind of outfit I was thinking about.
It is indeed
But
green.
it's green.
By the way, if someone in chat could keep score, because
Oh.
I can't ask questions and keep score and be sick
Meg
at the same
has
time.
3.
I have
She's
3.
gotten 2 of her own and 1 of mine, and then I have 0.
Well, that's a good start to
I'm
the
only
day.
keeping track of mine.
Moving on to
Don't
Devin.
worry, I'm keeping track of both.
Devin, again, I tried to make these even. I tried, but who knows?
Joe Huddleston is saying Devin's going to end at 0, calling it
Come
now.
on. Devin
Devin.
can get some of them.
Devin, the next question is about a game called A Feast for Odin. Okay? And on the cover of A Feast for Odin, everyone is doing something. What are they doing?
You couldn't even give me the amount of people.
There's
so-
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, in case it helps.
So
They're all doing the
I
same
have
thing.
I have to correctly. Oh, I mean, are they drinking from a mead horn?
I'll give it to you. They are toasting. I'll give it to you. I said I'll give it to you.
Yeah, but you said that as if you were being generous.
It is. They're not drinking. They're toasting. The action is clearly toasting. Yeah.
Action is clearly toasting.
I'm giving you it. I'm giving it to you, okay? This is a compensation for the first question where I said, what's the text of
Thank
show?
you, magnanimous Overlord Alex, for being generous enough to
Hey,
give me a
hey.
point.
This question was wrong. It's wrong, okay?
This question is wrong. What
Moving
do you
on.
do when you toast? You then drink.
But they're not drinking. They're not. Not a single one is drinking. They are all toasting.
So I have a question. If you take a freeze frame of me right now, I'm not drinking.
No, you are. That action is clearly...
No,
That's
no,
not...
I'm not drinking.
No,
I'm,
Devin. That action is clearly drinking. Hold it up like you're toasting. Hold up like you're toasting, Devin. What are you doing now? Are you drinking?
Like you're toasting.
Okay. Now you're just spilling water on yourself. Anyways, Meg, moving on to you. And again, I think these are reasonably hard questions.
Gold.
But moving on to
Water
Meg,
myself.
for your next game is Root. On the cover of Root, okay? On the cover of Root, we have all 4 of the species in the core game. Okay?
Yeah.
But which faction is in which corner of the box? There's top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. Which faction is in which corner for each one of the 4?
My
Wow.
goodness. Wowzers.
These are questions
Wowzers.
about, like, do you see
You know
the game
what this
boxes
is,
in front of
Meg?
you?
You know what this is, Meg? This is him getting back at me and you for the trivia that we did.
I said,
he's like, I'm gonna screw them over.
I said very clearly, if anyone gets above 50%, you're doing just fine. And Meg's already at 3 points, and there's a whole bunch of questions to go.
All right, so the birds are in the top left. Will you tell me when I get wrong because I'm not going to?
Are we doing left or right from your perspective, or from my perspective?
If you're near the R.
Looking at the box, right?
Okay. Do
The
you want
far
Do you want me
side.
to correct you as soon? Do you want me to say you're wrong as soon as you're wrong, or do you want to go through all 4 and then wait me here?
Yeah, because if I get one wrong, I'm wrong.
Well, it
right?
depends if you're using it to like reconfigure as you talk. Because you might be thinking like the birds are this, and then like no, the birds are here. Like I don't know. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun.
I'll say the birds are in the top right. I did say left, I think,
You
when I
did say
first said
you
that.
did say left, yeah.
So yeah, I will say the birds near the R. Top
Okay.
R.
That's
Wait,
top
okay.
left.
That's the top left.
Yes.
So you are saying left.
I think I'm directionally challenged.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying near the R.
That
Okay.
makes sense.
Keep going.
No, you're wrong.
Can I try to steal?
Yes, you can. And you have more information.
So I think that the Woodland Alliance is in the bottom right.
Would you like me to wait till you're done, or
No. Just say if I'm wrong right away.
you are indeed wrong?
They're near the T. They're on the top near the T.
The Woodland Alliance is
No, they're
next to the
not.
top
Yeah, they
R.
are.
The bird is next to the T, and then yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Again, these questions are hard. I'm very cognizant of that.
Yeah, that's difficult.
I'm saying it's difficult. If you get more than 5 points, Meg, you're fine.
I should have said the vagabond down there. That was my other guess for down there. Son of a gun.
Do you guys even play games? Anyways, moving on to Devin with a question about Scythe. Okay,
Is it still 3-1?
it's still
Dear
3-1.
goodness. Golly.
This is a question about the box cover of Scythe. Okay,
Okay.
what's unique about the word Scythe on the cover?
Oh.
I think it's just the fact that I think it's the C in it is the sickle.
You are indeed correct.
Okay.
I knew that too.
Oh, Meg's
Fair.
disappointed. Yep. Okay, we're at 3-2.
2. Did we start with Meg or?
Yeah.
We started with Meg. Yes, indeed.
Okay, so I'm only 1 behind now.
Yes.
Okay.
For now.
For now. Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
When you're thinking of Meg, so the next question is about the crew, the quest for Planet 9. How many astronauts are on the cover?
Free.
Devin, you have a chance to steal.
It's like I have no idea.
So I'm going to go with the Azul answer, which is when in doubt, go with potentially the max player count. I'm going to go with 5.
There are 2 astronauts. on the
Son of a
cover.
gun, that was the other thing I wanted to say. Devin, whenever your brain says to say something, don't listen to it. Say what the other brain wants to say.
And we had
Small
people.
box, Alex. These ones don't go on display. You don't show the small boxes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not. You don't get any bonus points for that.
Uh,
Moving on to Devin.
I should have gone.
And again, these are hard questions. I'm acknowledging that. But with
Ugh.
Paladins of the West Kingdom, there are a host of knights on the cover. There are a
Yeah.
host of knights. And between all the knights, as far as I can see, there are only 2 weapons being held by all the knights on the bottom. Not the knights on the top, the 3 on the top. By all the host of like knights on horseback on the bottom, there are only 2 weapons being held. What
Two
are those 2
total or
weapons?
2 types,
2 types.
of weapons?
2 types of
Okay.
weapons.
I'm pretty sure one of them is going to be like a pike or a halberd, like, you know, like a long spear, possibly with a blade on the end.
A
So
lance.
I'll go with, just for like, because they all are kind of in brother and sister categories. I will say spears as one of them,
Okay.
and then the other one, I'll just go with swords and spears.
Meg, would you like to steal?
Ah.
Is he wrong?
He is wrong.
I was gonna say lances, and now I'm wondering if it's not swords, but swords.
Pole
make
arm is what I was
sense.
thinking of. Yeah.
Polearm, lance, those are all acceptable. But
Those would all be the same thing.
yeah.
Which you know
Like
is
Devin
wrong
saying
because I
spear.
said spear.
I mean, I don't know which one's.
I'm
right
not
or
going to
wrong.
be technically getting in the way here. If you're right, you're right.
I'm gonna say swords and bow and arrows.
They are all carrying a bunch of lances and some warhammers.
Warhammers.
Surprising.
Interesting.
There's multiple warhammers on the
Like the
box.
fact that swords weren't shown at all is kind of surprising, given like what they would have been using in the Crusades.
Yep.
But okay, warhammers.
Excuse me.
I would not have picked. Yeah, I would not have picked warhammers.
Okay.
So
This is
spears was right, or lances. But
this is
yeah,
possibly
none of
the
them.
hardest question.
Oh,
of the
so the
entire
guy
thing.
on top was doing the sword and axe at the top. Okay.
Yes, and I made it very clear to distinguish not them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Meg, for the cover of Mansions of Madness 2nd edition, and there's 2 possible answers, and I'll accept either one, and you won't actually get bonus points, but if you get the one that I think it is, there's super bonus points you don't actually get, but, you know, whatever. Tell me something spooky, like supernatural, not spooky. Tell me something supernatural-ish that's happening on the cover.
Supernatural that's on the cover.
There are 2 acceptable answers. There's the desired answer, which is amazing if you know it, and then I'll accept, you know, a different
Is
answer
it
too.
that the shadows are shaped, and maybe almost like a gate, but it's shadows?
No, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Devin, would you like to steal?
Okay, so there's 2 things on there, and one of them you're saying what's scary about it? Like
Supernatural-ish. There's one specific
supernatural-ish?
answer that I'm looking for, but I'm accepting a different answer.
I mean, I know that there's that one guy who's got, I think it's the gravedigger, William Yorl or whatever. He's got like the lamp up. I'm gonna go with just classic Cthulhu, like tentacles. But that's it.
You reluctantly get the steal. There is a guy in the back being held by a tentacle, being thrown out the window.
is that the super one that you were thinking
The,
about?
the leaves and the wind and the way they're jumping up is an acceptable answer I would have gone with, but the one I was looking for was the tentacle.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I was thinking that the gate was shadows.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was so wrong. Oh wait,
there's
is
no one
he
there.
on the side of the box?
Possibly.
Is he on the art of the side? I'm wondering if he's
Maybe
on
an
the...
expansion.
Yeah, I never noticed the guy on the cover being thrown out the window until now.
That is crazy.
Okay, we are 3-3, heading into a Devon question, and it's a question about a game called Tapestry. Okay,
Oh gosh.
Devin,
Um,
how many How many
It's
banners?
directly behind me, so I can't see.
How many banners are being marched down the road in Tapestry?
I think it's 3. I think it's 1 in the foreground, 2 on either side of it, flanked. I'm gonna go with 3.
You are indeed correct. It is 3 banners.
Wow.
Dun 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 dun. Next one is a hard one. Sorry, Meg. But on the cover of Merchants of the Dark Road, there are 2 animals visible. What are those 2 animals?
One is a bunny. Or a rabbit, I think.
Okay.
And a bird?
It is Devin. Would you like a chance to steal?
Oh, wait,
Um,
no. Can I go back? Can I go back before Devin goes? There's a horse.
What
That might
are the
not
2?
even be true.
What are the 2 animals you're guessing?
A horse and a rabbit.
Devin, would you like a chance to steal?
Dang.
So I was thinking horse because of the wagons and stuff. So I will say horse. I don't know this game. I'm wondering if it flips and there's a predatory one because it's the dark road and maybe there's stuff on the outside, but maybe I'm just thinking of Beauty and the Beast. I don't know. She knows this game, so I'll say the other 2. I'll say horse and bird.
It is indeed a horse and cat.
Oh, okay. I didn't steal it. I didn't-
Chat got it.
Like, are
William
you
Black
kidding?
in chat got it.
Oh,
Yep. Cat right there on the cover. But yeah.
Oh,
bless.
Stacy, I would accept anything that is cat adjacent enough that people would really be going to go with. It's certainly not a bunny though. Whether it's a lynx, a cat, or any version of it, I would have accepted.
it's a long-tailed bunny, Alex.
If anyone in the chat says it's a bunny, you get the point. That's not true. Someone will support you. No, someone will support you. It's not a bunny.
Oh, whoa.
Moving on to Devin with a question about Lords of Waterdeep.
Oh, okay.
There are 3 characters on the box of Lords of Waterdeep. What are the 2 races of those characters?
Well, one of them is 100% a human. The only 2 races out
There's
of the
2
3
races
characters?
and 3 characters.
Well, I'm thinking of like the bearded man, so I think that's human. And then the question is, it's there. I don't want to look that way, even though it's on the front. The question is there a drow on there? Is there a dark elf? So I know for sure. I think for sure human, and then is there? I'll say dark elf drow. I'll say human and dark elf.
You are indeed correct. It is indeed a drow.
Oh, that feels good. That feels good.
On to you, Meg, with the one that I think you'll get, but we'll find out in a second.
Well, me, I don't know.
On the cover of Vagrant Song, what is the train traveling through?
The board?
No, on the cover. The cover of Vagrant Song, the train is traveling through something. What is the thing?
Oh.
Like through a place.
Um.
Like what kind of place?
mm, I'm seeing what chat is saying.
Don't look at chat. Chat's cheating.
Am I not allowed to?
I think it's
Give them
cheating.
time to guess. Okay, fine. Um. I have no idea. A town.
Devin, would you like a chance to steal?
I think it's snow, isn't it?
Neither of you are correct. The correct answer is in chat by a bunch of people. With a forest or a graveyard would have both been acceptable answers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was thinking of the white on the ground, but that's fog. That's not snow. That's a
There's
graveyard.
totally graveyards in towns. Like, how would a graveyard exist if it wasn't in a town? Just
I'm not going to give it to you, Meg.
Okay, so all right. So is it to me now?
God.
It is indeed to you with Marvel United.
Mm.
What is the main hero and the main villain presented on the cover of Marvel United? There's a bunch of characters, but there's clearly a main hero and a main villain.
Red Skull and Captain America.
Meg, would you like a chance to steal?
Iron
Oh!
Man.
It is indeed Iron Man and Red Skull.
Son of a gun! Son of a gun! Oh, I was thinking of him on the right. Oh, son of a gun!
I knew.
And we're back to 5 versus 4, I think we're up to.
Yeah, 4 to 5. Yeah.
And well, moving on to a Meg question because Meg's a chance to catch back up. We are looking at cartographers. And you have cartographers heroes, I believe, right?
Yes.
Okay. What are the 2 species on the cover of cartographers
I'm
heroes?
sorry, William Black. I can't believe I missed the Marvel United question. My people.
2 races, species, whatever.
The 2 species?
Races or species, whatever you want to use there. Living types of things.
Definitely, I think a human. It's Gullpax, I think, in the front, which I think he's a human. And a dwarf.
Devin, would you like a chance to steal?
So, can you repeat the question about
On
cartography?
cartographers heroes, there are 2 living types of things. What are those 2 living types of things?
Are cartographers heroes?
Yes.
There's the female human in armor, so human, and then just trying to think of like maybe because heroes has the monsters like an orc or a goblin.
This is fair. I don't know if I've ever seen the cover of base cartographers, Alex.
I said heroes. I said heroes.
Oh, this is Heroes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And
I said-
you're both wrong.
Yeah.
It is a dragon. Multiple dragons, in fact.
Alex, that
Oh, okay. Okay.
Let me know what I'm doing wrong here.
In the background. In the background. Let me know what I'm doing wrong here.
that's fine. The way it was phrased, I absolutely thought it was people.
I said
Well, he
I,
said species.
I said species,
He said
living
species.
things. I started with species. Yep. I said species, races,
Okay.
living things.
Because either way, I thought Gullpax was on it.
Moving on to Devin, with a game that's been talked about earlier today, with Oathsworn. Tell me
Okay.
2 of the hero classes on the cover of Oathsworn. There are 4. I want to know 2 of them.
Penitent and Huntress. So the guy with the mace, and then the Huntress with the ranged.
Okay.
Huntress is human.
The Huntress would count if it's there.
Okay.
Yeah. But
If it's there,
I'm
which I
not
guess it's not.
actually sure about the possible answer. So I'm going to give Meg a chance to steal, and then we'll look and see. Meg has a chance to
I will
steal
say-
because you might be wrong. I don't know.
I will say the Penitent and the Witch.
Okay. So, Devin,
I have no idea.
is that the penitent?
I need to see the image. No, that's the warden, the
Okay.
priest, the exile, and the huntress.
So
So,
neither of you
I
get the
should have
point for
said-
it.
Yeah.
Okay. The Huntress was correct.
Ah,
I wasn't sure about the
God.
penitent. I was like, I'm not sure. I don't think it's penitent, but I wasn't certain.
I was thinking of there's an art background drop of him that I used in one of my thumbnails, and that's what I was thinking about.
What have we done?
Well, there's 1 left for each of you.
Oh, and it's 4 to 5. I really want to get just 1 more so I could be above 50%.
On the cover of Clank Legacy.
I what Meg's upset about is mathematically. Oh no,
She
she
can
could
beat-
beat
she
me
could
if
steal.
she gets hers and steals.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could. You could still beat me, Meg.
On the cover of Clank, how many characters are there?
Or it's the Acquisitions Incorporated people.
Devin, would you like a chance to steal?
It's got to be 3
Boy,
then.
I'm gonna drop down to 3.
It is 6.
Oh.
It's the Acquisition Incorporated, and then the 2 people directing them around.
Oh wait, I thought you just said Clank.
I said, on the cover of Clank
said
Legacy, how many characters are
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
hear Legacy. That
Yeah,
was
yeah,
my
yeah.
bad.
there? And with 1 question left to go, the chance to even it up or pull ahead, we have on the cover of Star Wars Rebellion, there's only 1 lightsaber. What color is it?
Green because it is Luke's.
And Devin pulls ahead with the green lightsaber.
Ugh.
And that's where we end up. Meg started off with a strong start. Devin eventually closed it. I'm pretty sure Meg's gonna kill me later.
Yes.
Anyways, 10 total answers from 20 questions. That's about the 50% that I expected. It's overall, it was a lot of hard questions.
I was sitting here waiting for the Dead of Winter or Forgotten Waters question because both of those box covers are insane. Neither came up.
I just grabbed, well, we can do this again. It could be, there's 10 games in your top 100. We can do this game 10 times.
I don't think I want to.
I want to.
In any case, I'm going to go ahead and move over to crowdfunding corner. We're going to take a look at, good.
Good job, Devin.
Good
Thank
job.
you. Oh man, that was hard. That was ridiculously hard.
I love Joe. Joe's like, I think I speak for everyone when I say that was unexpected. Moving on to crowdfunding corner with Riftlands and Guild Academies of Valeria. This one's still going for another 9 days, and this is basically expansions to Shadow Kingdoms, which is a game that I really enjoy, although no longer have.
Oh, I didn't know that this was live. I really liked Shadow Kingdoms whenever you did it. Oh my gosh, Kevin.
Kevin,
you are
thank you.
Such a gem.
You are a prince of a human being. Also, thank you for the compliment of the poncho. I'm sick, but the poncho's nice. So, Shadow Kingdoms of Valeria and Riftlands. And this one's I'm torn on because this is Riftlands designed by Stan Kodansky. And I tend to like things in the Shadow Kingdoms, in the Valeria universe. And I tend to love things designed by Stan Kodansky. But I'm also not really sure how this game plays. I just know Stan Kodansky, and that's like usually enough for me. He also designed Shadow Kingdoms as well, by the way. So he designed both these games.
Yeah, I really like Shadow Kingdoms.
But yeah. No, but like I don't know enough about how this game actually plays. I tried looking into it briefly. Didn't get a great sense of it. But like, I'm interested because of Stan. And that's kind of where I am in this one. Like, it's all I really have. Yeah. That's all.
Nice.
It's very quick.
Yeah, no, I'm curious about the Riftlands because I felt like the one thing that I thought about, or I think that you and I chatted about after we played Shadow Kingdoms, was what can give it that long-term like variability.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Well,
I've wanted to play that again, but I knew that you got rid of it. But I wanted to
Meg
try
has
it one more
it.
time.
Meg has it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was part of a large project I did where she took like 5 of the games or 10 of the games, whatever. But yeah, definitely interested in it. Past that, we'll see. But with that, we're going to move into the Patreon topic of the week. This is brought to you by a Patreon community. They choose every single week the topic, they select the topics, they vote on the topics, and then we go through them. And this is the last batch from last month, and next month we'll be doing the next batch, which they're going to be voting on. But to that end,
I gotta say before we start, your voice is sounding better throughout stream. So I think every time you get sick, you just need to live stream.
that's excellent. That's the plan. I'll live stream.
That makes sense. I think that makes sense.
You're
Or you're-
sounding better.
Getting more used to how bad I sound. That's also possible.
I think you were faking it in the beginning for sympathy. Actually.
Yeah, definitely sympathy.
Someone's salty about the trivia.
Moving on to the topic of the week. This is specifically gaming recommendations for non-gamers. Okay, game recommendations for non-gamers is the suggested Patreon topic, and I'll go ahead and start this off with just one game, and we'll just go from there. But basically, in general, I have gone through. We always have to deal with, not have to, it sounds so bad. We always have people in our life that are non-gamers, whether they're kids or whether they're friends. But there are people who see our hobby, see our basement, and in some way, shape, or form, they are interested. But you don't want to scare them with, well, Twilight Imperium 4, Devin. So, or for...
No, that's... I onboard everybody with that.
Yes, exactly.
I also don't have friends anymore. I don't know if there's a correlation there.
And so I found that there's certain games over time that I've definitely cycled between as far as the go-to recommendations that I give for non-gamers when a friend calls me up because I'm Alex the Game Guy, and they're like, oh yeah, what's a good game for like my family, my kids, my wife, whatever it is. And I definitely cycle the types of games that I introduce them to, but I'll start off with one of them that's always been a classic for me that hasn't gone away since I started. In fact, someone called me today to list this game as a good recommendation they gave someone else, like third hand from me, which is Patchwork. Patchwork from Uri Rosenberg, I find in general is a really solid 2-player game of polyominoes, and something about polyominoes in general I find is just a good gateway game. There's something about the Tetrisy shapes that I think people pick up and resonate with fairly simply, which makes it just a very solid, it's a very solid introduction. It's 2-player only, which is the only downside. You have to be mindful of that. But I just find Patchwork has consistently been one that has done well for me. And that's a big thing for me in general through this list, by the way. When a game doesn't perform, I tend to take it off my recommendations. I try to only have games that do like 100% or 99%, because sometimes that first game is their only opportunity to see how exposed they are and how exposed they want to be to the hobby.
No, totally makes sense.
I should go next because I also have a polyomino game.
Is it one that's on my list too? I know you said kind of.
Maybe. I think Patchwork is really good. I think the only issue is that it's only 2-player. And the thing, though, that I think about Patchwork, which is going to come up with a lot of mine, is that they're very affordable. And I know that that's something I say a lot about games, but these are all, like, really easy price points to get into a game as well. And I think, like, to get someone hooked on a game and then want to buy one and have it be affordable is a really good option. Isle of Cats Explorer and Jaw.
Ooh. That is a
I
good
think
one.
that
I
was
was-
very
I
accessible.
really enjoyed you guys teaching me that.
You guys,
I think
like,
it teaches you a lot of things where it teaches you like set collection and collecting the different not set collection but connecting the colors of the cats and the polyomino aspect and things like goals at the end of things and choosing when you do things certain rounds. And I think it's like $21 on Miniature Market.
Oh wow,
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
In fact, one thing I definitely did not think of as I went through my list, it happens to be a lot of these are on the cheaper side, a lot of them, not all of them, but I didn't necessarily think through that, and it's a very good point, especially if you're recommending people to buy games, like, yeah, it can definitely be a factor.
Yeah, so for me, I did classic Devon, where I came up with my own criteria for what I was going to talk about on this list, and
Twilight Imperium.
I said someone in chat said Twilight Struggle, which I thought was hilarious. No, so you guys actually talked about the platform and going on the idea of accessibility and affordability, which therefore kind of means free on my part. I only picked games that you can play on Board Game Arena, and
Interesting.
I did that for the sake of Amber and I. We do role playing, we do D&D with some people, and we do that remotely, and so we play online via video chat and stuff like that, and that is the same group of people who we have been slowly bringing into board games on like our off weeks in which we're not doing D&D. We've been hosting them on Board Game Arena and showing them board games, and so everything I picked is off of Board Game Arena.
Wow.
And so I have like 11 titles on here. I can go with the one that we just did recently, even though it's not necessarily my first pick. I typically scale some people up to it, but the first one on my list is King of Tokyo, because like to me the progression that I would send someone on is a lot of people are familiar with the rules of Yahtzee, and King of Tokyo is that at its core, with two things that you focus on: your health and your points. And that's really like, you don't even have to push them as hard into the cards in the powers at first. But I think that's a really nice shift from something that is kind of more classic standard like Yahtzee, move them into King of Tokyo. And if they really like that particular style of game, you could eventually upgrade them to like Dice Throne. And so King of Tokyo is one of my BGA games that is on the list.
Nice. And I think I agree with you completely on Dice Throne as well. Like, I think that's just the charm and the art of that game, especially when you combine it with the Marvel IP, so you can hook people with the Marvel IP behind a good game as well.
You guys, okay, I'm just gonna say now, Dice Throne was on my list.
I believe there was.
Taking
100%.
it off
Dice Throne's not on my list, but it's one that I feel like is great for that.
There's at least one
Yeah,
more
I had
game on
Dice
my
Throne
list.
because of like the Yahtzee style thing, and like Alex said, with something like Marvel, like that's very easy to get someone into it because there's an IP around it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like we're so used to like writing off IP games, but if you give someone an actually good IP game, it's a great way to loop them in. Like, I'm a sucker for Marvel when the game is good. When the game's not good, I don't care at all. But yeah. Another one on my list that's become one of my go-to recommendations in the past year is Canvas. Canvas is one that I totally did not have on my radar at all, but when I started playing it, I found that it's a game that works so well because people don't have to try to be playing to win. There's a point optimization engine there at play that you're trying to be mindful of, but I find a lot of people just try to grab cards that look cool, and they have fun doing so, and then they're vaguely mindful of the points. And I find that Canvas to me has so far has a 100% track record of being something that people have enjoyed, gamer or non-gamer alike, and that's become one of my new go-tos in 2022.
I tried that one.
Ooh, Canvas is delightful. Devin, have you tried Canvas? Oh, you did, because Canvas Reflections was one of your disappointments of the year. I remember this. Yeah.
People love that.
Yes. Do you know-
So like genuinely like having I really like how Reflections scales up some elements of it, and but yes, I think that if you're not talking about going at it from a gamer mindset, like, then I don't think you need Reflections at all. I really do like when I have shown people Canvas. The box is beautiful, the components are gorgeous, and yes, you don't have to play focused on points. You can be like, I want to make the best looking piece of artwork. And will I win the game? Maybe not. But I'll be playing something that if I enjoy it enough, maybe then I can shift to focusing on winning the next time. So I do think it's a great magnet to pull people in.
And Sydney is in chat saying yes, but it's ruined by reflections. So we know some people who follow that video. But I'll actually continue with another one, even though I just took my turn. But I'll continue with another one the chat just mentioned, is Dixit. Dixit's on my list as well, is one that I found
Michael
to be
just said
amazing.
that,
yeah. Dixit to me, because of the crazy art of the game, I have found that it has that apples to apples vibe, which people get into and they understand right away, but it has more of an interesting game behind it, and the art just pulls people in. To me, Dixit is another one of those games that, like, and there's a lot of these party game crossovers that I've just had, like, near 100% success rate with, and Dixit's definitely one of them. It's done tremendously well for me.
Nice. Meg.
Okay, so when I did this list, because Devin explained like how he did his, I did mine both on affordability and different types of mechanics. So all of mine are very different, where I had like Dice Throne for the Yahtzee thing, the Polyomino for the Explore and Draw. Sushi Go Party. To teach someone drafting, Sushi Go Party is the best way to teach like just a quick, simple drafting mechanic that also has like no stakes to it. I feel like it's such a silly, quick game that, you know, as opposed to something like Enish where it really matters what you draft, learning drafting through Sushi Go Party, super fun. It's just so fun. I love it.
It's a solid game.
Yeah.
It's basically like a CCG if you think about it.
I actually am gonna push. I'm going to.
Devin didn't get that.
Sorry. What'd you say? I totally missed it. I was thinking about what I was gonna say. What'd you say?
It's basically a CCG if you think about it.
It's more fun than Marvel Champions, okay?
I don't think that video's gone up yet.
I don't think that has either, but what a good callback. I can't believe I missed that. I was actually going to push back because this is something. So Alan Brown in chat said Wingspan is the best gateway game of the last decade. And I think like 2 years ago, I might have answered the same, but my opinion has shifted on that because I think that Wingspan is what a lot of us like really hobbyist people who are in it hope. I think it's what we wish is a gateway game because it's as mechanically light as we want to go, and we're hopeful that we can scale people up to it. But I don't actually think, I think Wingspan is a lot more complex than what a lot of games are for the types of people that I have been bringing in. It still has a decent amount of stuff going on. It's got a lot of things to juggle. It's got, you know, personal objective scoring. It's got particular engine building mechanics. It's got, you know, the resource management in terms of what types of birds you draw. It's actually got quite a bit going on, and my opinion has shifted. And, you know, like versus, you know, like I know that there's a running joke on my channel, but like, you know, when Marvel United came out, a lot of people said this is too light. And I think it's a lot of hobbyist people looking back. And if you are a newcomer looking forward, I actually think that it's not. And I think that it does work really well. So
I remember the famous video of Mandy Pattison was like, there's a video of him learning Wingspan and just like shaking his head, like unable to learn it. Yeah. That's the guy.
Mandy Patinkin?
Patinkin.
You mean?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So, and Alan, that was not to like call you out. That was just more like that's something that I have mentally shifted on in the last like 6 to 18 months.
I agree with Kevin. Kevin said it's Gateway Plus, and that's a category of games that I often do lump games like Istanbul, Wingspan, Power Grid, Five Tribes. I put those all in Gateway Plus. It's not necessarily your first game, but once you love Patchwork and whatever, it's a good next step.
Yeah. I think that like for example, another one on my list from there was another one that's on BGA. I mean, all of them are on my list. Is Six Nimmt. Six Nimmt is such an easy little card game to teach people, and it does create. I like it because it does something that a lot of card games don't do, which is like reverse scoring. You start out with points, and when you are the one who has to like when you mess up, you have to take points and you lose, and so you start at 66 and you actually go down towards 0, and so the game can go faster or longer depending on the skill and savviness of the people playing. So it can kind of scale to the ability of the people that are playing, but it's also just really simple. You're just playing cards into
It actually has a little bit of similarity to Welcome to. You're trying to get numbers in a particular sequence based off of what's in your hand. So 6 Nimmt is one that is also on my list.
Yeah, I saw a question in chat from Michael. What's the heaviest game you would consider for a gateway game? One of the games on my list, actually, Stacy mentioned as well, and falls in that category, which is Parks. Parks to me is about as heavy as it goes for. I still consider a gateway game. Even though Parks happens to be a game that you can actually dive into on a fairly cutthroat level, you also can play it very, very accessible. And you can play it with just a degree of set collection and very chill, and escalate with the players as they go. And between that and the art as well, I do consider Parks to be like on the upper edge of what I consider to be gateway.
And I have a pick on here that if I wasn't doing Board Game Arena, I would not pick this. But I think for the fact that it actually reduces so much of the maintenance and table paralysis of the game is I actually picked Feast for Odin, which to me does not really belong with any of these other titles.
Wait, you're serious?
Doesn't. No, I genuinely put it on there because I played this recently and I was like, I think that like a lot of times people have this need to feel like they translate everything about a game. And like as gamers, I think we want to teach people how to learn something with the caveat that they're learning it for the purpose of scoring well and understanding all of the strategy. And I think that like we're teaching them just like we have a view of games. And this directly, I'm well aware, this directly contradicts what I just said about Wingspan. And this is the absolute like outlier on my list that doesn't make any sense. But if it wasn't on Board Game Arena, I would not even say this at all. But I think that a lot of times with games, we're like, oh, say Parks or Wingspan or anything. We want to teach people, oh, this is the objective, this is how you score and stuff like that. But a lot of times for people, that's not what a lot of people who are coming to a game from not outside of the hobby care as much about. They just want to see if like it's something that they can have fun with, that they can explore. And I think one thing I noticed with Feast for Odin when I was learning it, and I learned it by checking out the tutorial that's on there, and then I played asynchronously with people. It is a game that has so much going on. It's one of the few games where I was like, you could literally just come in here and play a game where you're like, I'm going to pull this lever and see what happens. Because there's not necessarily there's like good and bad strategies to it, but it's at its core, it's worker placement. You go here and you get this. You go here and you get this. Sometimes you need this to get this. And that is the only thing I would teach people. I would just want to go them in and show them, hey, do this and see what happens, and do this and see what happens. And it doesn't match with anything else on my list, but I do think that it has made me kind of realize that I don't think we are all the time realizing why people are coming to games. Like, you're talking about like someone coming down in your basement and being interested. They're coming in and they see the interest and they're like, this looks fun. They're not coming in and saying, this looks like something where I want to optimize my strategy to get the high score, but that's what we think because we play so many games. And so, that's just something that I've thought about.
Yeah. Meg, what's another one on your list?
Just going to what Devin said, I think the only thing that would be a detriment there is maybe playtime. I think that it is something that, like, complexity-wise, I would love to, like, throw that at someone, but sometimes if something's playing just too long, then they get annoyed. But
Yeah,
that being
that's
said,
really
to back your point, my first board game was Arkham Horror. So,
Yeah, that's a
People
steep
do it.
jump. Yeah, that's a steep jump.
yeah. I'm gonna go with, I think, my easiest one, which is one that I bring to almost every family event, Timeline.
I assume this is on your list. This is the one I had on my list. I was just waiting for one of you to say it because I know we all think very highly of this one.
Yeah, Timeline is delightful. So it's all different types of things, where there's different packs, where there's like an Americana one, there's an invention one, there's a discoveries one. But it's all different things that have happened, and there's artwork, and it's the same artwork on both sides, and one side has the date. So you have all of your cards face down, you don't see the date, you decide where you think it goes in the timeline, you flip it over, if you're right, it stays, if you're wrong, you have to draw a new card, and you're just trying to play all your cards. That if you're right, you don't draw a new one. And it is just so simple, and it's one of those games that, especially if you're playing with a group or family, people can bow out and be like, I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna go cook now. People can get dealt in. It's just very, very accessible. And again, very cheap. I think it's like
Yes.
$15.
Yeah, it's very cheap. Alan's asking a good question in chat, which I want to address. What's the difference between gateway games and family games? It seems like everyone uses both to mean light games. So I think other people might have different answers to that. For me, I think it's the difference between light on rules versus light on strategy. So, for example, Patchwork or Timeline or Canvas or Baron Park, those are all games that fall into the category of being light on rules, but not necessarily light on strategy. There's a decent amount to think through, just the rule set is very light. Versus when I think of family games, I might think of, I have to go look at my kid shelf over there, but I think of like, games like, I don't even know, I can't see them.
Like Sushi Go Party.
Sushi Go Party, no, I mean, maybe, it's middle for me.
I tease just because you do play that with your kids, but your kids play heavier games.
They play heavier games, yeah.
Family games, yeah.
But like, there's a bunch of games that I consider to be, I can't, like, the problem is the glare in my eye.
There's
Like,
that frog one from Lucky Duck.
Yeah. Meeple Circus, someone saying Frog from Lucky Duck. Oh, the Frog from Lucky Duck, yeah. We have the Rush Out, or Machikoro. Machikoro and Rush Out, I think both. And sometimes there's overlap, by the way. Like, I think Machikoro is a good family game and a good gateway game. But I think, like, Rush Out is a good example from sit-down games that I think of as a family game and not a gateway game. I think that's a game that's good for your kids, good for whatever, but it's not a game that I think of as being engaging enough to be a good gateway game. I want the rule set to be light, but the strategy to be enough to pull you in terms of when I think of that. Yep.
Nice. Yeah, another one on mine was, let's see, I'm just going to delete that now that I've said it, delete that. Like, King of Tokyo, the reason why I brought that up was because it carries on kind of like the mechanical tradition of something like Yahtzee. Another one for me was The Crew. We talked about it earlier in terms of the stuff. So, so I kind of grew up doing a lot of card games. I played Nerds, I played Kings in the Corner, I played a lot of different stuff, including spades and hearts, mostly spades. But so a lot of people who are familiar with card games, at least, and know spades or anything like that, they're familiar with trick taking, but for them it's a competitive experience. And so the reason why I like The Crew is because it's trick taking, which can be familiar to, in some respect, to people playing, but then also it's cooperative, which means it shifts the perspective to people who are trying to work together, which is always sometimes helpful when you're bringing in new players. They're not playing against the experienced players. And then it shows you how you can take a system like King of Tokyo or Dice Throne does with dice rolling and allocation, and it shows you that you can use trick taking for a completely different experience. And if they like it, you can the Crew scales up naturally as you keep going deeper into it. So if they really like it, you can keep going and show them how much it can escalate. So The Crew for me is another one on BGA that I like.
The Crew is on BGA.
Oh, nice.
What? Yeah.
The Crew is also on my list, so I'll just jump into that to say, I think also especially for an older generation, like the generation above us, like playing with like our parents and things like that, they all grew up playing a lot of card games, so I think it's something that makes a lot of sense to them. And I also like that it shows them like a campaign style progression, that it shows like, oh, there's a new scenario, there's new rules, that I think it's just very clever to use something that they think they know and then teach them like more about the board game world. It's fun.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, past Dixit, we haven't heavily dove into party games, but for me, there's a bunch of party games that I think are great gateway games. From Codenames to Monikers to Just One to Decrypto's a little much, I think, but maybe even So Clover. There's a lot of solid party games that introduce typical party mechanics that people are used to, but with a lot more cleverness and intricacy behind them in a way that is very compelling. I mean, Codenames. Yeah, Codenames in general is, I don't know if people necessarily realize this, but that's CGE's best game, most popular game, by like a factor of like 50 times more popular than anything else they have. Yeah. They sell more Codenames than anything else because it's just a game that has gone around the world and taken it by storm, because it gives you the appeal of games like Categories and Taboo, but it does so with a lot more replayability in the experience that makes it very compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. No, I totally Monikers was a huge success at my Thanksgiving this year, so totally agree with that one.
Yeah, Monikers is fantastic. It's to me, Codenames versus Monikers is just a question of player count, but they're both fantastic games that I really, really appreciate.
Yep. Another one on my list is which one to do next. Welcome to for me is another one that's on here. Again, on BGA, it takes so much of the logistics of cards and stuff out of your hands, and it's really just focusing on like the core mechanics.
and showing them the idea of welcome to, I think, is it shows you the idea of not being able to like be optimized or perfect, like accepting constraints and working within those to get the best that you can do and making suboptimal decisions. So I like that because it has different ways that you can go about it. You can do parks or you can do pools, as Meg can't ever escape from. But it's definitely, it's got a little bit of additional stuff. You've got the objective scoring that you're competing for, but because everyone is using the same numbers, it's really easy to teach remotely because you can see, hey, you see how that's a 6 with a fence and that's a 7 with a park, and you can go through with them. Like, it's not like you have to be like, I don't know what you see, but these are the things. Everybody's got the same information, and so you can teach effectively.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. It's a very good one.
I think I'm all capped out on the list of the games I brought to the table.
So I have Azul, because I think Azul does a few things. I think components wise, it shows like how cool board games can be, and it is also like a pretty simple puzzle. I know you can play it very cutthroat, but you can also play it kind of passively. And I think again, it shows you drafting, it shows you set collection, and I think it's just a very aesthetically pleasing one to be playing. That I think it's a very like calm way to introduce people into gaming.
I think it was also
Nice.
fantastic, and it reminds me of the other ones often compared to, even though it shouldn't be, which chat mentioned already, which is Sagrada. Sagrada also falls in that category of just looking pretty, visually appealing. Doesn't have the chunky tiles, but has a lot of colored dice, and you slot in them very nicely with a very simple rule set.
Devin, I
Um,
have 3 left.
Yeah, I have 6, but I'm happy to just keep
I can
going
keep
one
going.
and then I can just
Back
No,
and
I have more if I
No,
need to.
Alex, you hush. You're done. You're done, Alex. You're done. Another one for me is Santorini, which is another one. Again, all these are on BGA. If you guys use that platform or haven't heard of it, it's a very, very good one that has a free option and a paid option. Santorini is good because
The record,
Record.
guys. I
I
mute.
switched over to the live stream.
Guys, I
You don't
mute.
mute?
No, I mute for everyone else. You guys hear me blow my nose. Everyone else I mute.
Oh, because for the record, when I blew my nose, I'm muted.
Yeah, I mute. You guys just don't hear
Oh.
it. Nobody else hears me blow my nose.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I totally mute as well. Sorry. I was on the live stream, like checking comments while I was talking, and then I heard that, and I was like, "What is happening?" Because I did the delay. Santorini for me is one that can scale up. Why do I not mute for them?
It's two different buttons. Two different buttons. So much work.
He was saying Alex not muting for me and Meg.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought he was talking about me not muting, and you guys said you're muting. Santorini is one that for me can scale up because you've got the god powers that you can integrate as much as you want, or you can also just teach them the thing. And as a very nice production re-implementation of kind of typical abstract games, that you get to experience something fun and engaging. It looks a lot more inviting for a younger audience, whereas stuff like Go and chess are a little bit more visually intimidating or bland. And then also the god powers kind of show you how you can introduce asymmetry and you variable player powers in a game that might otherwise you not think would have it. So Santorini is one for me.
I also have Rolling Realms. That was like the roll and write that I have. I think Rolling Realms is pretty simple. Like the rules of it, it can get kind of competitive and as soon as you start like understanding the patterns a little bit better. But I think that it's very, very accessible. The rules are very easy. And for me, it was the 3rd Stonemaier game that I've played. And this is super silly, but even like different things, it makes me more curious of like, now I want to play Tapestry, even though I've never super had an interest. And now I've played Tapestry in that world so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is that it's very affordable, that it also has a great solo mode, that if you show it to someone so that they can enjoy it, they can then solo through it to learn the rules really well on their own and then show it to other people. So for Roll and Writes, that was the one that I picked. I just think everything it does really well. I've had like an addiction with that game.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Another one for me is I'll just do two at once, and that will get me closer to evening up with you. Mine is It's a Wonderful World, and then Nidavellir. Both of those are on BGA. It's a Wonderful World, I think, is in the beta, but which means it should be there in complete form soon. And then Nidavellir, and those to me, like if we're talking about mechanics that they may be familiar with and showing them in a new light and a new fashion, Nidavellir and It's a Wonderful World both introduce drafting, and Nidavellir also introduces bidding at the same time. Nidavellir is like a little bit more going on. I've introduced them more to people that were kind of like already a little bit into the hobby, versus, but I think It's a Wonderful World is maybe an earlier start. Hey, sexy.
Who are you talking to? Your wife. Okay, gotcha.
It's cut off. I forgot that it cuts it off.
You can see her a little bit.
You can see a drop.
See her a little bit. Yeah.
Bebe.
Huh? My meeting is almost over. I don't even like these two people.
I'll go ahead and jump into Barren Park, which is one that I kind of briefly touched
Sorry,
upon.
I will mute myself.
Good choice. I will go ahead and Barren Park's one I kind of loosely mentioned. I had on my list as well, but I think that Barren Park, it's become one of my go-to. It's one of my go-to gateway games that has almost 100% success rate. And speaking of family games versus gateway games, that's one that I find hits well on both aspects. It hits really well as far as being a great family game. It hits really well as far as being a great gateway game. I want to say I have like 100% success rate as far as people asking me for a good game for their family, and Barren Park just knocking it out of the park. And they almost always come back for another recommendation after.
Pun intended.
Yes, that's fair.
I can't bear how well it knocks it out of the park.
Yes.
Do you want to go again, Devin, or I think you're still muted.
No need to correct him.
Everybody's happier if I mute myself. So,
No.
my last three that I'll kick out to round this out from on my end, and you can wrap it up, Meg. For me, are Seven Wonders Duel, which reduced down the complexity of Seven Wonders needing multiple people and just having it be a head-to-head. So people, I think Seven Wonders is one that a lot of people might be more familiar with within the same like level of like Catan, Ticket to Ride, that kind of stuff, and so Seven Wonders Duel kind of shows you how you can subvert a expected system into a two-player experience. So I really like that, and also it plays so fast when you don't have to deal out the cards yourself. Like on BGA, you can knock out a game really quickly.
Yeah.
And
Even
then
quicker when I'm
Railroad-
playing against the two of you.
Railroad Inc. is another one that I like a lot. That's probably one of my favorite roll and writes. It's very accessible. And then one that I actually haven't played, but I've seen played, is Ink and Gold, which is also on there. And that is a really cool push your luck mechanic. So showing them push your luck is something that I think is also fun if you aren't doing something like Quacks at Quedlinburg.
I still think Can't Stop is one of the best push your luck and gateway games that I always recommend.
Yeah.
I would love to
That is
try
a good
that.
one.
It's
I've
on
heard
BGA.
A lot of good things. I know it's on there. I didn't pick it because I just don't know anything to say about it.
So good.
But I saw it.
It's dangerous. You're like, I'll just do it. It is. It's very pushy luck.
It's one of my favorite push your luck games. I have a few others I like, but that is one of my classics for a reason. And it's an older title too, which is nice.
Nice.
Are those all of yours,
nice,
Devin?
nice. Yeah, that's all mine. Yeah.
So one that I have that I absolutely loved is a flick and write called Sonora.
Oh.
Ooh.
Sonora by Pandasaurus. I think it's so enjoyable because you have this like board where it's in a little bit, it's like dropped in where you're flicking things to land them in different places. That I think that dexterity part is very fun to just get someone to be like, there's no pressure on the strategy. You're just like flicking something into the board. And then after that, it's a Sudoku style puzzle, like that's how I describe it, where it's 4 different areas. And depending on where you land your tokens, you get that many points to pay into those 4 different puzzles. And they all operate very differently, but it is just kind of like a personal puzzle as well. So it's not super competitive. And I think it's very fun for people to see like just how to do the puzzle themselves. I think it's very, very accessible. And then my last one, which again, I kind of did like different categories of things. I think this one is very interesting, especially for a younger crowd. That I have a 14-year-old cousin, and I was talking to him about this game, and he's very interested now. Chronicles of Crime. Chronicles of Crime is like a very fun like story puzzle game where you're just scanning QR codes, and that's how you're figuring out what you're doing in the puzzle. And I think to bring in like younger crowds that want to be on their phones, something like that, and with the AR system of looking around the room and stuff,
That's fair.
they're more used to it. That I think that it's something for them to be like, oh, I think I like board games because it's bringing in like other things that they enjoy. I think that it's just done really, really well.
It's a great choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Nice.
And I think with that, we are going to go ahead and wrap this up. I can't talk. Come on, if you close this, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I can do it. So, if you want
Thank
to
you all
see
for
Alex in a live stream more often, we're just going to make sure he stays sick, because the best place for Alex when he's sick is a live stream. If you want to see him in a poncho, just peer pressure him to buy more ponchos. He's definitely getting into that. It's like wearing a blanket, but it's a poncho.
like wearing
This
a blanket.
is the weekly live with Devin and Meg. It's more like Meg and Devin. Alex just happens to be here. He's kind of our Streamlabs slave. We just make
We let him
do.
be here.
Yeah, we just let him be here. If you guys like the sections, let us know. If you guys like the trivia, let us know. We're just gonna, we're gonna quietly berate Alex for his decision making on the choices of the types of questions he asked. But we all had a good time with you guys. We love all of you. And, from CNB, BNC, BGC News, until next time, signing off.
And I'll
Bye.
do the classic stream ending thing. If anyone would like to check out future content today, we will be dropping more of our top 100. We will be back next week at 1 p.m. probably, maybe. Next week, actually, I
maybe 4
might
p.m. Maybe 4 p.m.
Maybe 4 p.m. We will be pre-scheduled going forward, so you guys can know exactly when we'll be on. And if you would like to be part of the people that get to choose the topic of the week that we talk about, if you enjoyed that and you would like to make suggestions, you can become a Patreon over at Board Game Co's Patreon and be able to vote on the things we talk about.
I'm sick. Do it out of pity. In any case, thanks so much, everyone. I appreciate all of you. And until next time, I hope you have a good one.